Hey, what's up guys? This is Master Stampede from Toostupidgamerz, and we are here for a very special video. Again, if you saw the short, you know we're excited to announce that we got a Switch 2. This is the Mario edition. Let me pop that to the front so you can see the sticker there. Comes with Mario Kart World. Obviously, we're going to make a ton of content using this thing. That being said, you know, we're going to be unboxing it today, but you can expect reviews, gameplay, footage, all sorts of great content thanks to this Switch 2. So we thought, why not do a very quick unboxing before we get into all that great content. So right now, before we get started, make sure to hit that subscribe button, like, and let's get into this unboxing. Alright, so we're going to throw it over to our B cam where we have the Switch 2. That is, again, I'm going to be completely honest, a very small box. If anything, maybe even smaller than the Switch 1. It's been a while, so I don't remember. But, yeah, Switch 2 right here. Going to go ahead and cut open the only piece that is holding this sealed so that we can move on. Thankfully, no staples on this one. Guys, in case you missed it, there's all sorts of people that have had their Switch 2s destroyed because of stapling right here, because right under here is where the Switch 2 lives. So we're gonna just pop open that front so we can show you guys. That whole thing with the Switch 2 and the stapling is a problem because they put the Switch right here, screen up. So right off the bat, you got the Switch itself. You have both Joy-Cons. These are the new Switch 2 Joy-Cons. I actually have not held these before, so this is going to be my first time. I'm very excited for that. Gonna put the box to the side. Compared to the Switch 1, this already feels a bit on the heavier side, and I'm happy to see that the screen goes pretty much as far to the edge as it can. Now, there is a bit of a border that's kind of just natural with the screen, so the actual picture that you're getting from your gameplay isn't going to the very edge. But what I'm talking about is the glass itself. It leaves very little room on the edge outside of that border. So I'm really happy about that. Now, one of the other big things is that these Switch 2 Joy-Cons that we have right here, they actually changed them up quite a bit from the Switch 1 Joy-Cons in that they are magnetic as well. So they've obviously changed how these Joy-Cons connect to the Switch. I'm going to see if I can't get this to go. This is going to be the first time. Ooh. It's already dusty. Ooh, that's nice. And two. I'm gonna put it up to the mic just so you can hear how it sounds. Yeah, it is very familiar to that Nintendo Switch click, but now it's more of like a clamp on. Also, if you look at the very back, so where you have your right shoulder, your ZR right shoulder button, there is something over here which I wasn't crazy about the design. I always felt like maybe someone might hit it by accident, but this is now what you press instead of that little button that you push down. You now have like a full button that you have to push in, and it will pop out the Switch 2 Joy-Con. It feels really nice in practice. Again, I'm just worried if you're kind of pushing your buttons here, maybe you accidentally flip one of those. Maybe you accidentally hit that. But there it is in all its glory. The Nintendo Switch 2. Once again, they have pretty much mimicked the design of the Switch 1. You have your D-pad buttons. Your left analog is above the D-pad. Your right analog is below the face buttons, plus minus button. And you have a share button, a home button, and I'm new to this console, so I actually don't know what this is. There is a button here that is under the home button. Looks like it's a letter C. I'm assuming that is going to be for voice chat, which was a big deal with this. I'm going to be completely honest. I'm not really interested in this feature of the Switch. I don't think it's that big of a deal, especially with services like Discord. To me, it just kind of seems like, for me, it's kind of like Nintendo is trying to like parade this feature that's been perfectly well established in other game consoles and game systems. But I digress. Otherwise, pretty much the same on the front. On the back, once again, you have the two buttons to pop out the Joy-Cons. They've changed the kickstand quite a bit. So now the kickstand is kind of like this U shape. There's a lot of space there, and we'll see how it kind of holds together. It stands pretty decently well. It's very firm, very secure. I would say it goes quite a bit of a distance too, so even if you wanted to have a very small angle, you can have it just like this for a little bit easier of an angle on your kickstand, so that's pretty cool too. Oh, that actually has a very satisfying click. A lot of the issues with the Switch 1, I think, was that the kickstand was just so flimsy. It was just this one line. This, just like with the Switch 2 OLED edition, I think they did a good job with the kickstand, because that sounds really secure to me. And also another thing that they really needed to work on was multiple vents. So what I'm assuming is that you have your vent on the top part right here, that this is all vents, in addition to vents on the bottom, one here and one there, to make sure that this thing right here does not overheat. The Switch definitely had run into a lot of overheating issues. I know personally from experience, my Switch 1 was overheating all the time, so we'll definitely be on the lookout, especially since this Switch is a jump from the original Switch in terms of specs. The hardware that they put into this, you know, they're really wanting you to put out games like Cyberpunk. They're wanting you to put out games like, you know, modern AAA titles, also big Nintendo games as well, like Zelda. And they want that to run well. So hopefully they put in enough fans, they put in enough air ventilation into the system so that overheating is not really going to be a problem and our games are not going to chug. Just to continue analyzing again, let's take a look at the top real quick. So we have the game card slot. There's nothing crazy in here. It does feel a little bit nicer. It does feel a little bit more high quality, but there's nothing particularly crazy with that. You have a aux port for a 3.5mm jack. Obviously USB-C for charging, which there's also one on the bottom as well, in case you were wondering. You have the vents again, and your volume button and your power button. So pretty simple. Now we're gonna take a look at anything else that comes in the box, because of course if you're gonna get a Switch, you want to have a couple of accessories as well. We have a ton of stuff that I'm just gonna take out real quick. You can already see the power supply over here, the dock obviously, and that's gonna do it for that. Okay, so we're gonna start first with the redesigned Switch 2 dock. Kind of more rounded, more modern, definitely a very pretty dock, if I have to say so myself. Big vent on the bottom. You get your Nintendo Switch 2 logo. Now you have two USB ports, just like you did with the Switch 1 on the side here. And to kind of open this up, you have to... I always have the worst luck with Switch docks. My first Switch 1 dock broke. My second Switch 1 felt like it was kind of busted, and this one doesn't feel too hot either, but it looks like it just comes off as one giant piece. You have a AC adapter, HDMI out, and once again they went with the LAN. I'm not too crazy about that. I would have preferred it to be a another USB. I don't really care about like high-end gaming on this, like online. That's not particularly what I use the Switch for. But yeah, I mean, if you need your Switch to be connected to high-speed internet, it's going to be better for you than Wi-Fi. They got you covered with that there LAN. So we're going to put this back on. Put the dock to the side. We'll put it in the dock later to just take a look at how that is. And let's take out the actual power supply. This thing is a brick, but really it's one piece and a cable. Whereas typically they would have given you the AC adapters, it was all in one. The cable was already tied to it. I mean, to be fair, I kind of like this better because wires wear down. So if you still have this and it's functional, but your wire kind of wears or breaks or someone steps on it or rolls over it with a chair, you can just replace the wire. Now, one of my favorite parts is a piece that comes with the Switch. And I actually really started to enjoy this recently, but this thing over here, which I'm gonna put in post what the technical term is for this, but this is what you use to turn your Joy-Cons into an actual controller, because having your Joy-Cons is great, and they're really great obviously when they're on the Switch. If you need to do motion control, again, it's a great option. But playing like this, I don't know who likes playing like this. There's so much separation between both of your hands. If you don't need it for the motion control, I would much rather have the Joy-Cons attached to something. So we're gonna go ahead and pop in Joy-Con number 1. and Joy-Con number 2. And there you go. It's so similar to the Switch 1 version of this. Like I said a long time ago on a Switch 1 unboxing, it just looks like a flying pizza box to me, you know? It's flat on top, you got these controllers on the bottom. I mean, unfortunately, Nintendo hardware, just peripherals, just cost so much. So getting a Pro controller is something I absolutely want to do. But yeah, Nintendo has to pack something in to give you a slightly better option of playing your games. And thankfully, they all come with this. So while you're waiting for a Pro controller to drop in price, or maybe someone to gift it to you or something like that, this is a pretty decent option to get a more natural gaming experience. It looks ridiculous, but after a while you get used to it, you stop caring how it looks, you're just happy you got a controller in your hand. If you get the Mario Kart World Edition of the Switch, you get a instruction and guide and a little code here to do your full game download of Mario Kart World. So obviously I'm going to scratch this off after the video recording is done. Gonna download that and play. It's actually not my first Switch 2 game. My first Switch 2 game is actually Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma. I mentioned in the TSG short, we're gonna be having content about that coming, so stick around for that. Very familiar looking HDMI cable. Very familiar to the HDMI cables that you get from the Switch 1 and your Switch 2 Joy-Con safety straps. These attach to your Switch 2 Joy-Cons if you're going to use them off of the Nintendo Switch 2. If you're not going to use them with the controller mode, you want to put these on, obviously, for safety strap. And of course, you want to use these if you're doing anything where you're waving your hands around. I gotta say, I like them a lot compared to the original Joy-Con safety strap attachments. These are very sleek. I mean, it almost looks like they're not that bendable. There's not that much give to them, but it almost looks like it's supposed to hold the attachments. But no, this is it. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Bam. Okay, so they're a little bit weird to put on. Took me fiddling with this for a second, but yeah, so you kind of have to, with the plus side, put the bottom in first and then the top. That won't work if you do it the other way. I mean, this just looks really nice. I like peripherals that are modular. I like any kind of hardware that's modular, so you can kind of put something onto it. If we wanted to take it off, I would imagine it's the same deal. Yep, you just push the button again and pop that off. Do not pull. You have to push the button and then pull them off. But yeah, I like any kind of peripheral where you can attach something to it, makes it look slightly different. And of course, it just looks like the regular Joy-Cons, exactly the way they are when you have them, because all of the side stuff is just exposed. The attachment is essentially this just ring that you put around the connector port of your Joy-Cons. Well, now that we've unboxed everything that comes with the Mario Kart World Edition of the Switch 2, I want to put the dock on my table here and go ahead and do my first ever docking of the Switch. Whenever I put these on for the first time, it's always so awkward because I don't know which way it is. And if I have to be honest, I still feel a certain type of way about putting my Switch 1 into the dock, because sometimes I just kind of miss. So we're going to try to go ahead and get this first try. And there it is. Perfect. So the screen goes on the side that has the Switch 2 logo. And there is your Switch 2 in dock mode. I mean, it just looks really nice. You can tell that this is a bigger Switch because the screen is just poking out the top of the dock. This thing looks so much bigger than the Switch 1 and the Switch 1 OLED as well. I'm gonna go ahead and run some side by side right now of the different peripherals that we have, of the consoles, the docks, just so everybody could get a quick comparison between all of this stuff. Also, real quick before we go, I just want to throw a shout out and thank you to friend of the channel Snapple Pants providing this screen glass protector. At the price point that this Switch 2 comes in, you definitely want to get something like this. God forbid you get anything on your screen or damage it. You don't want to have to shell out all that money for another one. So thank you, Snapple Pants. Now, what my first thing as a brand new Switch 2 owner is what the process is going to be like converting my Switch 1 data, save data, games, account, all of that over to the Switch 2. The Switch 2 is, from what I understand, relatively good when it comes to backwards compatibility. So I know you could do a lot of Switch 1 stuff with your Switch 2. The question is, how do you get it over there? I know the PS5 had a pretty decent, I had a pretty decent experience with moving to the PS5 from the PS4, with the exception of save data. I don't like how Sony did their transferring save data from the 4 to the PS5. Now, again, my question is going to be, what's that going to be like with the Switch 2? Not going to lie, leading up to the release of this console, I felt like Nintendo really confused a lot of us in terms of what they're doing with their games, their physical versus download. But yeah, as a brand new Switch 2 owner, that's my primary concern right now. And I'm obviously going to have to take care of that on my own time. But yeah, we want to thank you guys for checking out this video. This was a very quick unboxing of the Switch 2. We are, of course, incredibly excited that now we're going to be able to feature Switch 2 related content, Switch 2 gameplay. So again, make sure to stick around for that. We hope you guys enjoyed it. And until next time, I'm Match the Stampede for Toostupidgamerz. We'll see you later.